Apple's taking charge like it seems it wants to. And if it's able to take out the highs from February 3rd, heads up, this is what I'm going to be taking a look at. Again, if Apple continues to take charge. I'm Raghee Horner. If you don't know who I am, I'm the lead trader at Simpler Futures as well as the Sector Secrets Mastery. And this is what I've got on tap. One of the things that happened today to futures traders, and I watched this happen live while I was in the room, NASDAQ just took off. And this is despite the weakness we saw in bonds, meaning higher yields, the weakness we saw in the euro, meaning stronger dollar. Everything pointed to risk aversion until Apple decided to wake up. Now think about high concentration weighting. Think about the way the tail can wag the dog. Think about the way a single heavily weighted stock can move the sector that it's heavily weighted within and the index that it's heavily weighted within. And think about how much XLK is influential over not just the S&P and the NASDAQ, but even the Dow. So Apple's a really important stock to watch, and that does set up some interesting potential buying opportunities. Let's start with Apple since we're here. I'm going to use my daily price movement ranges to say, look, I don't know that we're going to head into the 200 again. We may not see a move that low. We may not see a move that breaks 150. So what would our zone be? How would we set this up? I'm going to look for zones between 150.80 and 147, roughly and a half. Now, here's something else to know about these zones. Every single day, we have a certain amount of volatility. We have a high price, we have a low price in terms of volatility. But would it surprise you to know that Monday doesn't move like Tuesday, and Tuesday doesn't move like Wednesday, Wednesday doesn't move like Thursday, and Thursday doesn't move like Friday? Each individual day does historically have its own volatility characteristics. So we're not just looking at volatility in Apple day to day, we're looking at it specific to the day of the week. That's how much accuracy we build in here. So when I look at this 216 candle for Thursday, this is studying all the Thursdays going back 6 months and the nature of a Thursday and its volatility. Tomorrow we'll study the Friday, and that'll be a new zone for the daily price movement range. The idea here is let's see if we can't get down to that range to build a buy. Now that means XLK will be in play as well, right? So let's see if we can't do that. Now XLK has been moving sideways, but you think about the timing of waiting for a move that touches the gray support zone, like we've seen, right? Even though we've dipped a little bit lower, overall, if you think about building a position from this area and where we are right now, all we need to see is that prices are moving higher from that level. Really important to remember that we're not playing momentum. This is not a Momo type approach, not at all. In fact, I really don't even like Momo. This is exhaustion. This is waiting for prices to sink into a level of support, and in that we can take advantage of the movement higher from that zone. So that's what we're focused on here, especially with XLK being in an overall uptrend. If XLK is moving higher, it's pretty much inevitable that the NASDAQ is going to continue to be pretty darn strong. And that means if we see, and this is so important, this lower section here, a lot of you know I talk about building a chart from the bottom up because structure dictates strategy. If this is green, as it has been since the beginning of February, that means really simply, gang, it's buys and buys only on the daily time frame. Buys like this, right? When we're green. So you might say, okay, Rog, but what about this? As soon as it hits the resistance level, at least move to break even or pay yourself. That way, if we start to sink below the range, right? We're not taking, I want to show you where, hey, is this always going to be showing you the precursor to higher highs? No, of course not. Sometimes we're going to have a quick move from support to resistance, and then we'll break support and move lower till the trade sets up again. So again, remember that. We're always monitoring where the opportunities are. So I'm going to show you, that looks great, and that looks great, and that even looks good. Yes? But sometimes we're going to have a quick move, maybe of a session, we sink down and enter it again. So let's say you looked at the last 5 times we've reached the gray zone. 4 out of 5 punched up to higher highs, right? And even this one did too, but we didn't follow through for more than a day, right? So I'm going to knock that and say, look, you didn't give me a lot of follow through multiple days. Everything else was pretty darn good. So that's the kind of setup I'm looking at. High probability, not perfection. You know how much perfection hurts traders? They're looking for a 100% win rate. They're looking for something that works all the time. I'm not going to insult your intelligence and say that anything works that much. As much as I love this tool, nothing works like that. But if you knew 4 out of 5 times, for example, most of the time, you're going to have a high probability setup, confidence is so much higher, right? But you're not living in the la-la land of a perfect holy grail system. You know as well as I, doesn't exist. So we'll be looking for dips like this on NAS. But remember, if I've got this clarity on Apple, that means I've got that clarity on the XLK. Heck, it might even be worth it to look at Microsoft. It might even be worth it to look at Microsoft if we can sink down to a zone of support on Microsoft, because Apple and Microsoft are the 2 heavily weighted stocks within the XLK, right? This gets very exciting. And then if we start looking at things like SMH, very strong part of tech. We start looking at things like NVDA, right? That's what we want to think about. Even things like Taiwan Semiconductor, right? Which we're going to actually have DPMRs on. So for those of you, by the way, that don't know, yeah, gang, I've got a webinar coming up. We're going to talk about daily price movement ranges, mastering volatility on overnight, mostly overnight setups, looking at 1-hour time frames, looking at the daily. And we're actually almost at 90 symbols right now. And I'm pretty sure by the time I see you all on Thursday, we're going to be well over that, probably closing in on 100 symbols on this daily price movement range. If you loved the hourly price movement range, where we curate hourly data based on each hour of the day, right? 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. You're going to love its big brother, big sister, however you want to look at it. The daily price movement range, where we're curating this kind of data, same idea, but completely different curation of data. We're looking at single sessions and finding those zones. Super stoked about that. This is what I'm watching right now. I'll see you in the next update. Hey traders, Raghee from Simpler Trading. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to leave a like and a comment below. And remember, subscribe and click the bell icon so you'll get notified of the next update. And when you're ready to join me for live trading, be sure to head on over to simplertrading.com. I'll see you in the next update.